There are more homes in Silicon Valley right now than ever before. Why that matters to buyers, we'll let you know. If you hire an inexperienced agent, the VKG Real Estate Group is going to take advantage of you. Last but not least, buyers' mindsets, mentality, and what they want in a home are changing, and we're going to explain why. Let's hop into it right now, all on Unlocking Silicon Valley. Happy podcast day. Welcome, gentlemen.
We're back.
It's
our dad.
Yeah. Someone's got to be the dad of the group. So somebody has to be the
There'll be
responsible
some order
one.
today.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But I want to jump right in to market stats. I know we haven't done them, very consistently lately, but that's because things were kind of trending the same. There wasn't, a significant change. But man, I just came from my office. I just pulled stats, and I was blown away. If we take away all the coming soon stuff, right? And we look at what is just currently on the market in Santa Clara County. For single family homes, we now have 1,114 homes.
1,114
single family homes in Santa Clara County. And then we've got 800 townhomes and condos. But when is the last time you've heard me say that we have 1,100 homes on the market?
Well, okay. A memory popped up on our Facebook of one of the first podcasts that we did, I think 2022.
Okay.
And we said a healthy market was 1,300 homes in our valley. That's when we start to become healthy.
Yeah.
And that point, we only had 700 some. So since I've been on the team, I've never heard that ever.
Yeah, I think the last time maybe during that 2020 shift between May and December where the inventory upticked. But I think even then we were at about 1,000 to 1,200 between there.
Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, it's definitely been a couple of years, and it was just for a quick moment in time, right? It didn't last very long. However, I mean, we're in the end of April, moving into the beginning of May. This isn't even when we peak historically for inventory. So, one, that's great news for buyers, right? More choices now than you've had in years. Little tougher for sellers, right? That means you really need to understand the comps in your neighborhood. You need to understand how your home presents itself, against other homes. And you really need, in this type of market, two types of homes sell typically first. They are the fixer-uppers, the flips that everybody wants, or they are the turnkey dialed-in properties where a buyer can walk in and really not have to spend any money out of pocket up front to get the home that they want. And so at that, and I think inventory is also increased too because we have a lot of uncertainty still in our marketplace, right, with jobs and stocks. And we've always talked about that would be one of the key things that would move our market in a down direction is uncertainty about jobs and, definitely the stock market. And so great time to be a buyer, if you can afford 6.5%, 7% interest rates. I think it is an incredible time to be a condo or townhome buyer. Just because of the opportunities out there, however, as we know with condos and townhomes, we're having a lot of challenges with the law about the stairs and the patios and decks and stuff. And so I don't know, just want to get your takes on what you guys are seeing out there, with how sellers are feeling about the market, how buyers are feeling, and what do you guys think is going to happen over the course of summer?
Well, we were just talking about today earlier on different price strategies now with sellers. And I guess we can ask you this too. Are we at a point now because inventory is so high that we need to price? I mean, our whole focus, I think, as a team, we price more aggressively. So is that still the same pattern that we see now with because there's more inventory, still price aggressively, get as much traction, or do we see it price transparently, make sure buyers understand exactly what you're looking for? And you only need that one to come in.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think the first thing we need to do is reset seller expectations, right? Because everything they've known about our market is, you price a little low, you get a bunch of offers, you're $200,000-300,000 over the asking price. So first thing, reset seller expectations, right? Talk to them about the inventory, talk to them about the choices that buyers have. And then to your point, Ben, I do think that we get a little more transparent on our pricing. Yeah, I do think that we need to price a little more transparently. So that way, because buyers now have more choices, the buyer needs to know, hey, if I write an offer on this house for this price, I have a pretty high percentage of getting it. Because now buyers are going to be like, well, I don't want to waste my time doing a bunch of back and forth with a bunch of offers on this house. If there's 3 more in the same neighborhood, I can go after.
Yeah. Interestingly, today I wrote 3 offers, and all 3 offers got multiple offers, and it went hundreds of thousands over asking. So I think with this recent recovery in the stock market, we are seeing buyer
A little more confidence.
a little more confident
Uh-huh.
in making offers and also getting out there, and if a home checks at least 8 or 9 out of 10 boxes, they're jumping on these because it's a slight discount still compared to what things were back in Jan and Feb.
Well, yeah, and you bring up a good point too. I mean, if I look at stats today, it could be just a little blip on the radar, right? Because it could be the backlog of properties that haven't sold yet because buyers were on the fence over the last few weeks, because of the stock market and tariffs and that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see like a month from now as we get into the end of May where things stand. But right now, 649 pending. I mean, right now we have almost 2 months worth of inventory in our valley, which is crazy. I mean, we never have more than maybe 3-4 weeks.
Can I ask where those properties were you wrote on and the price points?
Yeah, there were 2 in Los Gatos and 1 up in Campbell.
Okay, so all areas that are pretty much sought out by first time and second time home
Yeah,
buyers. Okay, so what price points were they, and where did you expect them to go? And where were they priced?
So there's actually one which is a townhome, and it's been on the market for a while. It's listed around 2.3, and we offered 2.1, waiting for a counter on that. We're trying to negotiate a good price, but the comps are lower. They're just overpriced. And then the other 2 in Los Gatos, when they were both, one was priced at 2.8, that sold preemptively for over $3 million, and the other one was priced at $3 million, and they got 1 offer under and 3 offers over. So all of them are fairly starter single family homes for not starter, but like 1,500 square feet, 8,000, 9,000 square feet lot, but fairly entry level for Los Gatos schools, and so it has a lot of competition under that $3 million price point.
Yep.
Okay.
And what are you seeing out there, Jay?
So it's kind of like, to echo your point, on the sell side, had one in Cupertino, and this was like one where we really took a deep dive into, hey, what else is either coming or currently on the market that we're competing with. So, and then we had a really good seller with that one. So he was very on board with, hey, can we like go through like what else is on? He wanted to like look at the conditions of the other ones, and kind of based off that, we went with a pricing strategy like, okay, well, this one's, the same size, but it's a little more redone, and this and that. And then we just came to like a reasonable price that we thought that would still drive traffic and then get to where our target was. And it was just a lot more transparent as opposed to just like, throw it on, $500,000 under, let it ride, and we'll get 20 offers next week.
Yeah, I feel like it's not often. I feel like in our market, it's very rare to have a buyer's market because we always used to have slow inventory, low inventory. Now I feel like it's slowly shifting to the buy side. There's like the property in Martin Street that I got in contract last week, we got it for $400,000 under asking. And I felt like the way it happened was my buyers became kind of a bully. They saw the price drop within the first week, knew that the owner of the home was very motivated to sell it, wanted to sell it, or they wouldn't have dropped it that quick. Threw in an offer immediately, started the counter situation, and got it to a price point where they still got a great deal, but also felt like the seller was getting a great deal. So I think, again, if you're a buyer and you're starting to see more of these homes come on the market, shoot your shot at some of these homes that you feel like is a good fit for you, because you never know where these the sellers stand in this market. Some of them are kind of at a breaking point. They see the way it's going, they hear things from their friends, or they even see it on social media or the news, and if they get something that they can move on, I think they're more willing to move than take a chance. Like the Cupertino one, you take a chance for an extra week and you end up with $500,000 under where you started, and it's like, you had the opportunity, like you said.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the best offer comes within the first week, and that's the market speed.
And that's a great point too. If you're a buyer or buyer's agent trying to negotiate an offer, a lot of these sellers are seeing the news, right? They are seeing the uncertainty, and they're like, hey, better to take a lower offer now than wait a month or 2 or 3 and things get even worse.
And some of these agents who are working with the sellers, I think, don't even have the experience to guide their sellers properly. And again, I know we do this a lot. When we write an offer, we always look up who the selling agent is. When's the last time they sold a home? How many homes have they sold this last year? And at the same time, we can guide our buyers like, okay, listen, this is an inexperienced agent. Let's get something in front of them.
Let's take advantage of them.
Exactly.
It's
like,
you know what? It's business. It's not personal.
It is. And that's exactly how it
Absolutely.
goes. And that's why, again, as a buyer's agent, it's our fiduciary duty to get the best, price for our buyer. And if that means taking advantage of a selling agent who doesn't have the experience in this market to guide their seller or negotiate, do it.
You know what? And I will look into the camera when I say this. And this is a great message for consumers and especially sellers out there. if you are working with an inexperienced agent and you list with that inexperienced agent and we come across your listing with our buyer, we're going to take advantage. We absolutely will. Right? Because we do this at a very high level. We do, well over 100 and some odd transactions a year. We average a closing every 3 days. We will take advantage of your inexperienced agent. I promise you that.
Even if they're the neighborhood expert.
Even if they're and guess what? Even if they're the nicest agent on the planet.
Hey, they're all nice people.
Yeah, but our clients hire us, like you said, Ben. Our fiduciary duty is to our client, and that is to get them the best deal that we can and meet their goals. And so be warned.
Yeah.
Hiring an inexperienced agent as a seller could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Brought to you by the VKG Real Estate Group.
Amen. Preach.
All right.
Also,
yeah.
just a side note on that. Most agents do about 4 to 6 deals on average a year, right? So they do maybe one deal a quarter. So a quarter ago, the market was so different.
Yeah.
So the way they guide these sellers would be totally different as to how much they price it for. The home would sit for longer because it's a shifting environment.
Yeah.
So they could also overpromise and then eventually undersell and could become a sour experience.
Absolutely. And so, that was a great conversation on the market and stats in general. But I definitely want to transition real quick. I know, Jay, you've got some great topics today. Did just want to say a little shout out. So for those of you that are born and raised in the Valley, a lot of you may have heard the name Swenson or Swenson Builders. Barry Swenson passed away recently, 85 years old. He's responsible for a lot of the high rises downtown, San Pedro Square, a lot of philanthropy, both in the commercial and residential side. And so, kind of lost an icon. And if you look at the development of our Valley over the last 40 years, it's been incredible, right? And so, condolences to the Swenson family, but he did a lot of good and a lot of growth for our community. So just wanted to mention that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, kind of shifting back to inventory, there was a cool topic or news article today in the Mercury News titled "Home Sales Drag Across the U.S. While Bay Area is Still Nation's Hottest Market." So like David was saying, a lot of uncertainty in the market. People, especially on the buy side, are kind of like, I'm not sure what's going on. But I always think it's cool when we see articles like that showing that our market is truly unique. So March sales across the U.S. decreased by 2.4%, while the Bay Area home sales are up 6.5%, all attributed to an increase in inventory. Article kind of read a lot about how a lot of people were locked into their 2-3% interest rates. That's kind of worn off. Life happens. People need to sell.
Yeah.
And, stuff's going on.
And I'll just add to that because I read that article as well. If you look at the median home price in the Bay Area from last year to this year, it was up over 11%.
Jeez.
Right. So we can talk another time about when is it a good time to buy in our market, but it's basically whenever you can afford to.
Well, here, if you go down to the end of that same article, they interviewed a buyer who was in the market late 2021 into 2022, so right before those first rate hikes. And he says, quote, "Waiting for the market to soften was a huge mistake. We should have locked in a lower rate, even if it was, 4.5, whatever. Locked in a lower rate and paid more," because he was talking about just getting into these bidding wars. It was so frustrated. It's like, I'll just wait for the market to soften. He's in the market now at 7% and kicking himself.
Yeah, and it's a whole different house, right? And, or he has to come up with a lot more money.
Yeah, on top of it.
Yep.
So interesting article, and it kind of goes in line with what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I think to your point too, Mark always talks about the fact that the Bay Area, isn't recession proof, but we are recession resilient, right? And resistant, where it has to take a lot of outside factors for us to feel the same effects in housing values that the rest of the nation does.
Yeah.
It's nice to be in this bubble, I'm not gonna lie, right? When Jeet's talking about $3 million entry level homes
casually.
Yeah, and I know agents, in the Midwest where their average sales price is like $80,000 and they have to sell 210 houses a year, to make half of what we do out here, right? So again, very fortunate that we live out here, and we've great weather, great soil, some great sports teams right now, Giants and Warriors.
Yeah, I'm a Giants fan now.
Yeah, Jeet is all in on baseball. But yeah, no, good stuff. It's always a great investment to buy in the Bay Area.
Absolutely.
Then another article I came across was local insight for San Jose home buyers, specifically a shift in buyer preferences. So the two preferences they're saying shifted as of this year. I'll just tell them to you. So one was walkability to communities, right? Which
So that's more important now or less important?
more important.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're talking to somebody, hey, what's important to you? I want to be able to walk to like a downtown,
Yeah, like walk
stores.
store, sure.
Complete opposite during COVID. They wanted to be as far away.
From everybody. I don't want to see another person.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the second one is, which we all know, multi-generational or homes that can accommodate multi-generational living.
Yeah, I mean, especially with these prices getting out of hand, like more people are going to be willing to stay together for longer. But that being said, the tri-level that we saw yesterday that, we are flipping, it's going to come to the market soon. It'll be all nice and dialed. That is a split level. So it has, you enter, you have a living space in the kitchen and the dining and everything on one level. You go down and you have another family area. And then from that middle level, if you go up, you have all the bedrooms.
Okay.
So we were thinking about whether we should convert that family room, which is a few steps down, to a bedroom or keep it as a family. Now, in those types of properties, I think multi-generational living doesn't really make sense because those people aren't going to be looking for it because of the stairs there with older parents and younger kids. That could be a safety hazard.
Yeah.
And so, keeping it a family room perhaps would be a better way to go there, right?
Yeah, I think, as we all know that, especially in our market, like you said, because of prices too, but I also think because of the culture, right? I mean, we're a melting pot here of a bunch of different ethnicities, and having your parents or grandparents live with you, is pretty common. And you're right, having it on the first floor when you walk in, having a bedroom, bathroom does make a lot more sense than them having to still walk downstairs, just to get to their bedroom and bathroom. Now, if there was a full separate living quarters downstairs, maybe a little kitchenette, so they could be self-contained, then maybe that's a little bit different. But also, it's interesting how multi-generational families, it's changing, because before it was like, we want our parents to live with us, but now it's like parents and our kids are probably going to be with us till they're 25 or 26, right? So it's not just the older generation that the buyers are looking out for; it's a younger generation as well. So you're not putting a bedroom down there?
No bedroom.
Yeah, we roundtabled it. So anyone that sees this, there's nuances to that.
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
Because what we were saying, like, oh well, maybe they'll just we'll do a side door by the garage and they'll just come in there. It's just like, well, what if they have to go to the kitchen? Exactly what David just said.
Yeah.
And there was like 6 stairs or something like that to get up to the
Exactly.
the kitchen and all the other stuff. So we're like, nope, second living room or like a office nook as well for people working from home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a flex space, children's playroom, family room, office space. It could be a large recreational room there.
Yeah. It's getting real deep dialed in how we're, remodeling these houses.
Yeah.
Very specific.
Well, yeah, I mean, and you bring up a good point too, because we do flip houses here on our team, right? Or we work with investors that flip houses. And so, it's important that we are, really have our finger on the pulse of what, buyers' expectations, buyers', sentiment is, because it does change and it does evolve. And I've seen investors that I know flip houses like it was 3 years ago, right? And then, those homes just sit, right? Because, he's not putting into consideration what buyers want today, but also you can't flip a house in Berryessa like you can in Los Gatos, right? It's a different clientele, different buyer mentality. And so you have to factor in all those things, when you're flipping and investing. It's not as easy as they make it look on, Netflix or HGTV, right?
Out in Waco, Texas, $100,000.
Yeah. Put 12 grand into it and suddenly it's a whole new house.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Good stuff. All right. Ben, you got anything else before we wrap up today?
No. I kind of said it before, just about buyers getting a little more aggressive right now. Again, I think all those buyers who were on a pause as we enter the summer, I believe the inventory is going to keep creeping up into the summer. And I think, again, there's going to be a lot of people who are traveling. If you're a buyer who's in here and you're motivated, start with a game plan now. Let's figure out how much money we need, how much money you need to save if it's a different price point that we're looking at. But this is a great time. Again, it's cliche to say, marry the home, date the rate. We understand that, interest rates are high now, but the fact that you have a secure job and a good paying job, even if the market comes down 5-10%, ride it out, let it go right back up, and then when the time comes to refinance, make it happen. And I mean, again, we're on an uptick here. It's very rare to just go down and stay down. So I think if
Yeah, I think it falls fairly slow and recovers fast. So, before you know it, it's going to be multiple offers and craziness.
Yeah, our title rep said earlier today, it's like turbulence in an airplane. Like it shakes for a little bit and then it smooths, and it's a smooth ride after. So we might be going through a little turbulence right now, but just give us some time and we'll all even out. No one should be terrified.
Unless you've hired an inexperienced agent to list and sell your home, then you should be terrified.
Yeah, good, because that agent's probably a canary lost.
Coal mine?
Coal mine. You should. Yeah.
All right. Good stuff, guys. We'll see you next week.
We got some events coming up.
Oh.
Sorry.
I don't know. It depends.
Possibly.
If you're a client of ours,
Thank you. Very specific.
not friends and family of ours, but if you have clients of ours, we got movie night coming up. We've got Mission Impossible.
Great call,
Right?
guys.
and that's happening May 22nd.
Yep.
Does that sound right?
Yep.
Yeah.
May 22nd. So if you're a client of ours, or if you want to go to the movie and you promise to be a future client of ours,
That works too. Just sign something at the door.
we have a little form at the door you sign. It's only for 12 months.
Listing agreement, buyer broker agreement,
Yeah.
take a pay.
You're in. All
Yeah.
the popcorn you want.
Exactly. We got that coming up, and I think we've just secured September 12th. Casino night, La Rinconada Country Club. That is my favorite client event,
Easily.
easily of the year, and so looking forward to that as well. So
Music in the park.
Oh, Ben,
next
yes.
month.
Tell us all about it.
yeah,
6 weeks of pure fun with the VKG team.
Ben has to rest before that 6 weeks just because he goes
So hard.
hard.
Yeah. But no, 6
You're
weeks,
committed, though. You're there every week.
6 weeks music in the park in Las Gatos. We have a 2-story tent in the back. We have a
fun.
new
it's 2-story now.
2-story, double decker.
double decker. Honestly, it kind of looks like those tri-levels. You flip. You gotta walk in, you gotta walk up.
Perfect. Yeah, there's a bar downstairs. But yeah, Music in the Park's a great event. I'm looking forward to that, and obviously it's free for our clients. You get to sit on the elevated stage.
Yeah.
I know you're gonna have food vendors coming in again, right? And then always, free beer and wine too.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Love it.
Yep.
a lot of great events happening in summer, and as always, if you guys need us, reach out to us.
And as always, who you work with matters.
See ya.
See you.